Hi and welcome to this DCP Web DaVinci Resolve 15 beginners tutorial. So let's open up my web browser, and the first thing I'll do is type in DaVinci Resolve into Google, and we're going to go to this website. I'll put a link to this website in the YouTube description. And DaVinci Resolve here is actually a good example of what you can do with this software. You can do chroma keys, you can do loads of amazing stuff, video editing, color grading, a lot of quite interesting video editing techniques and tools that you can use within this application. So if we scroll right down to the bottom, you've got a free version and we've got a paid for version. And you can read up on the differences between these two applications, but for now let's focus on the free version. And we click on download here, and then you choose the relevant operating system, Mac, Windows or Linux. I'm going to click on Windows. Fill out this form and then click register and download. Once you've done that, a file should automatically start to download on your computer. That file is around 900 megs, so it's going to take a little bit of time. This is very powerful software. It's very interesting to be using this software application, especially the free version. It's quite amazing. So download the software, and once you've downloaded it, it should be in a zip file. So extract that zip file and then just install the software as you'll install it for any other type of application on your computer. So let me just create a new tab here. We'll minimize. On my desktop, I've got these 9 video clips and I've got this 1 audio clip. So in the YouTube description, I'm going to put the video download, so the software download here, and I'm going to give you links to all of the different video clips that I've already downloaded. That will take a little bit of time to go through each one and download them, but they're fairly small file sizes. There's nothing major here, so it should be pretty quick for you to download them. So look in the YouTube description for a link to download the software and get all of the 9 video clips that I'm going to be using. And for the audio clip, you need to go to YouTube but log into your account. You need to be logged in and you need to search for A Quiet Thought. So that's the audio clip that I'm going to be using. So search for it and you can then download this audio clip by clicking download here, but you need to log into your YouTube account. If you don't have a YouTube account, create one and then you can download it as well, the audio. You can use any video clips you like, or you can use any audio you like, but if you want to follow this tutorial, it might be worth downloading these because I'm going to be doing some editing and stuff. You may want to follow exactly what I'm doing. So let's just look at one video example. Here is one example. You click on free download and make sure that you're always downloading 1920 by 1080. So it doesn't matter which video clip you're looking for, of all of the ones that you're going to download, make sure that you always download the 1920 by 1080, this resolution. Yeah, that's quite important. So all the videos 1920 by 1080. When you're looking at this panel on some of the video clips, there'll be higher resolutions, so just make sure and normally as default is giving you the 720p. That's selected. Make sure you select the 1920 by 1080 and then download all of these 9 video clips. And when you've downloaded them, try and give them a logical file name. Yeah, so the first one's called 01-Earth, intro Earth, and then you've got sunrise, spring, so forth, all the way galaxy, end Earth 09. So give them a nice file name so that they're following in sequence. That will help you in general when you're doing video editing. So let's close this. Here on your computer, you should see DaVinci Resolve in this folder called Blackmagic Design. Here's DaVinci Resolve. I've created a folder here and I've got it, just dragged it to this folder here as well as a shortcut. So I'll click on that and load up the application. Okay, the software is loaded up and this is what we're presented with first of all. So what do we see here? We see an untitled project. So whenever you double click on this untitled project, it will create a brand new project, but it won't have a name. So you've got two options. You can either double click here and just create a blank project with no name, or you can create a new project down here with a relevant name. And you can also create folders. So if you're doing stuff like, I don't know, if you're filming for weddings and birthday parties and all sorts of stuff, or if there were like loads of different holidays, for example, whatever you want, you can create folders and then put your projects within those folders. So you might have a folder called holiday videos and you put all the holiday videos in that one, and you might have one for birthday parties, for example, right? or however you want to do that. So I'll create a new project here. I'm going to click new project, and all of the video clips that I've downloaded are about planet Earth. So I'm going to make a video called Amazing Planet Earth, and you can give your one a different file name. It's up to you, but that's what I'm going to be using. Let's click on this create button, and now you see the software load up, and it looks a little bit daunting, right? It's quite a lot of options, and I'm still really learning this software. I know a fair bit about it now, but as I'm learning it, I'm trying to create these videos to share the knowledge, and if I ever forget something, I can always come back and watch my own video, I guess. But it looks a little bit daunting, but let's just work out the basics, right? So the basics here are really down at the bottom here. These are all the tools that we use. And we always start from this first section called media. So media allows us to bring content into this software. You can think of it that way. Editing allows us to edit that content that we've brought into the software and put it on a timeline. And a timeline basically is used to say that these video clips will be played in this particular sequence. Fusion is probably beyond this tutorial, but I will maybe touch base on it a little bit. But Fusion allows us to do special effects basically. So it's very powerful actually. Color is all about color grading. So imagine if you did, you shot some video on two different devices at the same location. So you and your friend were shooting video, and you're using maybe an iPhone and an Android phone, and the content looks a little bit different. You can use colors to try and get that content to match together. Or if you're shooting in daylight and nighttime and you want to get the sort of scene right, you can use like color grading to change the colors, and you can play around with that as well. Fairlight is all about audio editing, and delivery is all about exporting your video for different types of devices or different types of platforms. So let's start from the beginning, media. We'll click on media right down here. You can see my mouse right down here. We'll click on media, and media, we want to bring in the content that we're going to use within our edited timeline here. So I know where the content is. It's in my C drive, and it will be under users, DCP, and it'll be in my desktop here. And so as default, you'll see the video clips here, right here, and you can move your mouse cursor over the thumbnail like this, and you'll see the video on the side there in this screen here playing. So you can actually scrub through the video. It's really quite powerful software. You can even do the audio. You can play over the audio, and you can see all the different clips that we're going to bring into the content here, down here into the media pool. Now if you can't see, if you've got loads of videos in here, maybe, I don't know, you say you did some big event and you had loads of video content, you can use this slider to reduce the size of it, so you can see more of the content. And sometimes I like to use the list view, because the list view I can see the file names a bit more clearly. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the audio clip. So I'm going to select with my mouse all of the clips like this. You just highlight with the mouse, left click and drag and select them all, and just drag them, drop them down into the media pool. And it's going to ask me, it's going to analyze these video clips and say, and what it's saying is, would you like to change your timeline frame rate and video format to match? It's saying these clips here are different to the ones that are set in the timeline in terms of the frame rate. So we'll change it. We'll click change. Now the timeline frame rate and the video frame rates are the same. So let's click on edit, and in edit we'll see all of our content here, our media content, right? So we can click on effects library here, and that will bring up this little panel down the bottom here, the effects library and the media pool. So those are the two that I'm really going to have open. And if you click here, it will close it, and if you click here, it will open. And when it's highlighted white, you know that it's active, and you can see them here. So this is where the content is, and you can scrub across here if you want to see more information about the content. We'll scrub to here, and they're all MP4 files. And down here we've got some effects and tools. We'll look at those as well. So first thing we want to do is drag the content into the timeline. So let's drag Earth, the first one, and this is why I've labeled them 0, 1, 0, 2, so I know which order they're going to go into. So the Earth intro, then we've got the sunrise, then we've got spring, then we've got summer, and you can use this little bar down here to move across, and then we'll have autumn, and we'll have winter. And you'll notice some of them have these green boxes. These green boxes represent audio. So some of these video clips actually have audio in them, but those audio tracks are normally silent. There is audio there, but it's just a silent audio track. So I'm going to show you how you can get rid of audio. Really, these are running as two separate elements. The top one is video, and then underneath is audio. You can see that here, right? And there's this grey line, this separator here, that represents anything below will be audio and anything above will be video content. So we've done winter. Let's do the galaxy one. And then we need our sunset at the end. And then finally the end of clip. So we'll sort out this audio afterwards. We can see all the video clips in sequence here. And really what I want to do is stack them in order. So I want to do a bit of stacking. So here I can, if I move my mouse cursor to like this position, so you can see there's these two video players here and they're separated by this section here. So I just want to drag up here, just make those videos a little bit smaller. I want to drag down here to make the audio section smaller. So I've got more space for this video, and then we'll resize it afterwards. So right here now, all I want to do is right click on this video one, yeah? So I'll right click and add a track. I'm going to add 10 of them in total. So we're 7, we'll add 8, 9, and 10. So I've got 10 video tracks, and I've got 9 of them in here, because one of the video tracks I'm going to use, probably we're going to need 11, but let's leave it at 10 for now. In fact, let's just make it 11 now, because we're probably going to have some sort of title at the beginning and maybe a title at the end, yeah? So we'll make 11 tracks, and we'll click, what we'll do is we'll go to the end of the video here, and we're going to left click and drag across all the way to the beginning. So we're highlighting all of the video content, and we'll drag that up. So let's keep dragging it up till we get to the very, we want it to be from the, let's have a look. We want it to be here. So we want to leave one space here and have it on the video 10 timeline. And then we'll take this one and drag it down 1. And we'll take this one and drag it down 2. And we're just going to stack them like this on an angle, yeah? We'll drag this to number 7, drag this one down here, and we'll drag this one down 1. So when you get to like somewhere like here, you can just select all 3 of them and drag them all down at once. It will be a bit easier than having to go up and down. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, right? But this is how I've kind of figured it out for myself. So we should have a blank space at the bottom here, and we should have one blank space at the top here, and then we have all our video content. Now with that done, we can drag down again a little bit to make these video players a bit bigger, and the audio, we don't really need it to be too tall. And you can use your mouse wheel on this. When you're in this video section, you can use your mouse wheel to move up and down nice and easily. Now what are these 2 video player heads about? You can see it's written here timeline 1. So this is timeline, this is the timeline, and as you scrub through this content, you'll see the video play, and when we get to the end, it will move to the next clip, and when we get to the end of that one, it will move to the clip below. And the reason I've stacked them like this is because we want to do a transition between them. So we want them to like fade in and out, rather than just jumping from one scene to the next scene. We want to fade them, right? Add some sort of effect to it. And we left a blank space up here because we want to put a title, like a little intro at the beginning. So why have we got this blank section here? When you've got lots and lots of content in your media pool here, what you can do is just double click on the content here, and it will show it in this player here, and you can play that content, and you can scrub through it, and you can find maybe a piece of content that you want to use in here. But you don't want to have to drag that content into the timeline, check it, and then cut it and work out it's the wrong content. You can just double click any of these videos, and you can just scrub through them and look at the content this way. So this is almost like a spare, you can think of it like a spare player, video player on the side that we can use to check content. Any of this content will work in here, right? And it just allows us to look at the content without having to drag it into the timeline, because in the timeline, this will be this side here playing in the timeline, right, on the right hand side. So how do we, the intro, I'm going to leave it at full length, right, as the clip was originally, and we want to create a little title at the beginning. So look down the side here, remember you've got effects library here, right, and you've got video transitions, audio transitions, titles, generators, open effects, audio effects, and stuff like this. So let's look at titles. We'll click on titles, and you've got all these different types of titles. You can go around, there's so many different ones here. You can go and play around with them. And to create a title, as a basic example, let's drag and drop this one here. Let's drag and drop that onto the timeline, right? So here you can see the text title, that's its default name. You can drag and drop any of these different ones. They all do different things, but I like my titles to be nice, clean and simple. And we can drag the title to show at a different position or point in time. So we can start the title here. So maybe the Earth will, maybe we'll start it a little bit. For now, we'll put it right at the beginning and we can move it afterwards. Yeah. Now, how do we edit this title? We need to go to something called the inspector up here. Can you see it says inspector? And when we click on inspector, we'll see the word title written in here, which is this text here. So I'm clicking up here, but make sure you actually click on the title. Can you see it's highlighted red here? That means that that particular piece of content is active. And then when you look at the inspector, you'll see stuff related to this content in here. If you were to click on the video, then you'll see a different type of content in this inspector. So here in the title, let's call it amazing, what do we call it? Planet Earth. Maybe I'll get that all in one line. Might look a little bit better. So you can play around with this, put it all in one line. Now you can see it's too wide at the moment. So we can scroll down here and we can set the size. So we can reduce it in size, right? To something like this. And we can change the color if we want to change the color. You can make it bold. You can do all sorts of stuff in here, right? So you can go around and play around with this. There's some advanced controls here as well. But one thing I do want to do is a little sort of animation thing on this one, right? So in here, we have something called tracking. And tracking allows us to almost put more spacing between the characters, right? So if I put them, if I set it to something that I want it to be, so let's set it something wide. Let's set it to something like this. So it's quite wide at the moment, and when we play the video, it will just stay wide like that. But we want it to like almost reduce in size as this video clip is playing. So we put the timeline at the beginning. So at the beginning of the timeline, this is the timeline cursor, this red line here, or this little option here. So we'll drag that to the beginning of the clip, and we're going to click on this red button here, or this little dot here on the side, and it will turn red. That red represents what we call a keyframe. So when we create animations, whether you're using something like Blender 3D, whether you're using other editing applications, it doesn't really matter what sort of software you're using. Normally when you're doing animation, we're using keyframes. So we're starting a keyframe. We're telling the software the very first frame, or the very first part of this animation we're going to create, has to be this particular frame or this particular setting here, right? It's 1134. That's the first frame. So as we scroll across, we'll get to the end of this particular video clip. Let's go back here. In fact, it'd be better if we actually don't do it at the very end. Let's move so there's a little bit of a gap here, you see? So there's some timing here because we want to fade it at the end. So we'll move to about here actually, this sort of position here. And then we'll scroll back down to this tracking and we'll click on the same button again. But this time we'll reduce the size of it. We'll bring it in a little bit, something like this here, right? Now if we move the timeline head, we'll see that, can you see, like it's squeezing in like that? And then it just stops at the end. So it would be nice if this amazing planet Earth faded in and faded out, right? So we can go back to our video transitions here. So we were just looking at titles here. So we're going to click on video transitions, and we've got these different types here. So let's have a look at something like this dissolve option. So we'll drag this. So we'll select it with our left mouse button, drag it and drop it at the beginning. So you have to drop it like around here. So that will now fade in. If we click the play button, you'll see it fades in now, right? It dissolves in, and we want to fade it out at the end. So we'll click this and drag and drop it towards the end as well, here. So now it's going to fade in and out. So let's just test that out. It fades in, and then it fades out, and the planet Earth thing keeps going, right? Now, what I want to do is go to File and save this project. Let's save it. We should save our work as we go along, and we've got to decide, do we want this to play straight away at the beginning, or do we want to have the Earth showing a little bit, and maybe it'd be better if it shows like around here somewhere, right? So we'll have the Earth. Now why don't we fade the Earth in at the beginning? So we'll click this, drag and drop it onto the timeline here, and if we go to the beginning, the first frame is going to be black now. So let's just save that, and we'll click play. Now that will fade in, and it will move across the timeline, and it will get to this amazing planet Earth, and then that will fade out, and then the Earth will keep on coming towards us in this clip, and it will get to some point. It will get to that point where it's very close, and then it's going to move to this clip. And we don't want that transition. We want like a fade between these two elements, yeah? This is why I stacked them this way, because what we can do now is take a dissolve. You can pick other ones here as well, yeah? Like experiment with them. Maybe we'll do like a cross dissolve this one. So we'll drag this one to the end of this Earth here, right here. And then we'll take this clip and we'll drag it across. Now the nice thing about this software is when we drag it across, it's going to snap. It's going to snap exactly where this transition is. So if we move back on the timeline and somewhere about here, let's just move back a little bit more to here and click play. We'll see that transition now between the Earth and the clip before, the clip after. Can you see that? So let's have a look at one other one. So if you want to change these, so let's say you've put something in there. Let's just save this for a second. Let's say that you've put this transition in here. When you click on it, you can look at the inspector. The inspector is loaded at the moment, right? It's open. You can change the duration. So you can drag here and that will increase and shrink the duration. You can be very specific. You can say, I want this transition for 2 seconds or 1 second. As default is 1 second, 31 frames, right? Here, so you can play around with the transition. You can experiment with all these toys. It's quite a lot to look at here, to be honest. There's a bit more. We don't have enough time to explain absolutely everything, but you can play around with these. If you don't want this transition here, you can right click on it and delete it. Now it's gone, and then we can drag a different one in, like dip to color dissolve. Let's see what that one does. I have no idea. Let's have a go. Let's click play. So that fades to white. So if we were to click on that one, click on this one, in theory we can change the color. So we could have changed it to maybe like a blue color, right? And click OK. If we click play, now it fades to that blue color, right? So let's right click on that. I don't really like that. I kind of like sticking with the same transitions throughout the video. When you start mixing them all up and there's loads of different ones, it looks a little bit messy. So maybe we'll stick with this cross dissolve here. Let's click on this first one. Okay, that should be fine. So let's go to here and click play, and now they're just going to fade between. So let's do the same with this one here. And sometimes these clips are a little bit long, right? So this one here, that Earth was a bit too long, to be honest, but it's like 13 seconds long, right? So we'll edit this one. This one's way too long. So let's move our mouse cursor here, and we can scrub through this and find out where do we want to cut it. And it kind of starts right at the beginning anyway. So let's make it around, let's say that this clip. One thing we should do is when we're not using the inspector, we should close it. If we're not using, we don't really need to see that, and it's nice to kind of like closing the inspector so we can see the two clips side by side. It just so happens that this spring one's running here, but you can leave it open if you want and just have the one playhead. But if you want to see, like, if you want to experiment with other video clips in here, then it's worth closing the inspector so you see the two videos side by side. This one is just for example, just to view content as an example. It just so happens in the timeline we're looking at the same clip, right? So if I drag autumn into here, then we see the autumn one. But we want to make this much shorter, this clip here. So if we drag, where is it? Which one? We're on spring, right? So if we drag spring into here, when we drag the spring clip into here, it tells us that it's 30 seconds and it's basically 30 seconds long, which is way too long. And we're at 1 minute and 22 seconds on the timeline, yeah? So if we drag across and let's say we want it to be about 5 seconds, this whole clip. So 22 plus 5 will make 27. So we move across to around to, let's make it 28, yeah? 28 here. There. So now it's at 28, so we know that's going to be roughly 5 seconds duration. Then we can click on this blade tool, and then we can come down here and click and cut the track into 2 parts. Then we can click back on the arrow tool, click on this end part and delete it. Use the delete key on your keyboard and that will delete that. Now one thing we need to do is move back to the beginning of this timeline and lock. So we click this lock key, this lock item here, and we'll click this lock one here as well. We want to lock. So once you've done one section, make sure you lock it, because if you don't, then it can cause a bit of problems when you're editing other stuff. It starts shifting things on the timeline and it will mess up your like transitions and stuff a little bit. It can be fixed quite easily afterwards, but do that, it will just help you. Now let's drag our dissolve. In fact, let's click on this clip here. In fact, let's unlock it first. We'll click on this clip and we'll drag the dissolve to the end of it, right here. Then we can lock it again and we can drag this clip underneath, so it sits underneath, and then we'll have that same dissolve effect. So when we click play, we'll see that they dissolve, right, like that. Let's move it back here and they'll fade in and out nicely. So let's do some other ones quite quickly. So now you know how to cut video content. Let's get these other ones done a bit quicker. So we will drag the dissolve to the end here. We'll drag this clip across, and there's another way to edit it, is just by dragging the duration here. You don't have to cut it, you can just drag it, yeah, like this. And this is kind of what we would call non-destructive editing, because you're not really cutting the clip permanently, you're just editing how much you want to show. And as we drag it across, this is around 3 seconds in total, right? This is summer, so let's drag summer into here. It's saying it's 11 seconds, so let's see. Okay, so as we're dragging it across, you'll see there's a time at the top and a time at the bottom. The time at the top represents how much we're reducing it by, and the time at the bottom will tell us how much the actual clip, how long the clip will be. And we want it to be around 5 seconds. So if you can see carefully, if I move it to this position right here, it says 0500. So that is exactly the same as this one here. That's another way to edit the clip. And we'll drag our dissolve onto here as well. And we will lock this one. Let's lock both. In fact, we'll lock this one here and no, we don't. Yeah, we can lock this one because we've got the dissolve there already. Yeah. We use our mouse wheel to drag down. We'll drag this clip to here, and we'll drag across to make it 5 seconds as well. Let's do 5, which is, where is it? Here. And then we'll drag that one to here, and we'll drag our cross dissolve onto this one. We'll scroll down, we've got this clip here as well. We'll drag that in, and this one's quite long, so we want to make that one 5 seconds. So we can see 05 will be right here. Where are we? Here. That's 5 seconds. We'll drag our dissolve onto this one, and we should lock the one above. Let's go to File, Save, and we'll scroll down a little bit more. We can probably highlight these 2 clips and drag them both across, because we're going to need both of them. And we'll drag it here. Then this clip, we'll drag it down to 5 seconds. And we drag that one in, and we use the same cross dissolve. We can lock the one above. We can even lock this one now. We'll drag this across, and we'll make this one 5 seconds, and we'll drag our, in fact, let's see, yeah, we'll drag cross dissolve here as well, and then we've got this last clip at the end, this planet Earth again. Let's drag that across here. Let's just save our work, file, save. And we want this to be, in fact, we'll probably make this one a bit longer, right? So let's make this one 10 seconds. In fact, let's play the whole thing, because it's quite a nice clip here, like this this clip here, right? It looks quite nice. So let's move to the beginning of the timeline. Now we can see what's going on. We've got our Earth here at the beginning, and then we've got this amazing planet Earth text, and then we've got this clip here, and then we've got this other clip. So let's look at this middle clip here, this one, and let's go to File, Save. Let's look at Fusion quickly. So we'll click on Fusion here, and in Fusion, let's just go back to the edit. So one thing here is I've clicked on this particular media clip. So when I click on Fusion, I'm working only on this particular clip here. So we click on Fusion and we'll see that we've got media in and media out. So this is showing the output, and we can click on this little, if you look carefully, there's left and right here, these two little black boxes, and you look on this one's already set to the right. So this content, the output will be shown here, and we can click on the left one here. You can see the little left light now light up. This is the original content. So think of this side is going to be what the edit will look like after, and this side will be the original. So we want to move to, this is our red timeline again, right? So we've got our timeline working here. Let's go right to the beginning of the timeline, and we'll scrub through, and when that sunshine starts to show through around this frame here, we're going to leave it right here. Then we're going to go to Effects Library, click on Effects Library, we'll click on Open Effects, and we'll click on Light Effects here, and we'll try this Ray Lights. So just click on it once, Ray Lights, and in here in the inspector, so if you don't see the inspector, you need to click here and you'll see the inspector, and you can turn off the light here. Can you see the ray light? You can turn it off and on. So let's have a little play around with this. We can play around with the threshold here. We can reduce it or increase it, depends on what you want to do. You can change the length of the rays right here. You can soften them out, or you can have them quite strong. You can change the brightness here. You can even change the color of the rays here. You can blend them as well between the original clip and the new clip. You can do all of these in real-time effects. So we click play. That is actually being run in real time now, right? Those ray lights. You can see the original one on the side by side, what it's going to look like. So here you can see. That's pretty cool, right? So that's like real-time effects, and you can choose to apply these effects at certain points in time. So this is like the beginning, right? And you can see the ray of light thing coming through. But really, if I wanted that particular effect to show when the sun starts to pop out around here, let's say around this 35 point, frame 35, I can click on this threshold here, this icon here, this little white dot, and that will put in a keyframe, right? And it's set to 0.5, 0.895. So we can copy it here, and then we can move across our timeline to the end, and let's go right to the end here, and we can insert another one. So now we've got a start and end keyframe. Let's move back to the first frame, or this point here, this 35, and we'll set the threshold right down, or we can even set it really high. Let's see, I don't know, let's see what happens. Actually, let's set it really low. So we set it low here, and we can set the, let's try it like this actually. Let's see what happens. So let's click play, and as we click play, that will increase over a period of time, that particular option. You can even see it moving here, right? Can you see where my mouse is right now? So we set a start and a beginning on the keyframe, and we've told it to increase the power of this ray of lights over that duration, because we set a start and end frame, keyframe. That's quite cool, right? Okay, so that was just some basic video effects that we can apply, and this is called the node editor, by the way. So it's like nodes, so it's like modules. Normally in other graphic software or editing software, you apply these effects on top of the clip, but this style of effect, or this tool, the way it's set up, is quite intuitive, but it's quite tricky to understand as well. So we'll probably do a whole separate tutorial on this, to be honest. It's quite complex, but there's a basic example of adding an effect directly to the video clip. Let's go back to the video editor, and we'll keep scrubbing through these clips. And on this clip here, let's scroll down. We'll click on this clip here. So this is like the galaxy one at the end, right, towards the end, this one. And we'll click on the fusion tool areas again. And now we see the galaxy clip in here, right? And we'll move to the beginning of that timeline. Let's put it at the beginning, and we'll go to open effects, and we'll go back to light, and this time we'll apply a glow effect, and let's see what we can do with this glow effect. So let's move across. In fact, the first thing we should do is put the original one, right? So click on this white dot here, so now we see the original, and this is the one with the effect applied, and we'll move across the timeline, and let's see we can actually add this sort of glow effect, but we don't want it too bright, because the brighter it is, then it looks a bit fake like that, right? So we want it to be something subtle, and you can change the direction of it, the spread. You can do lows or stuff. I mean, there's endless options in here, isn't there? So you can change the opacity as well, so you can have it quite strong, or you can have it opaque. Let's brighten it up a bit, because this style looks a lot brighter now. And you can blend it with the original. Let's set the threshold a bit higher, something like this. So let's just play it as it is. We'll move. You can click this button here to move to the beginning of the timeline, and we can click play and look at them side by side. So that's applying a simple glow effect. I kind of like that. That's good for me. So we'll go back to the editor, and we'll scrub across, and then we've got this last thing here, right? This last clip right at the end, and we didn't fade this across. Can you see? It should really be sitting underneath. So let's drag it here. So now it will fade to that planet Earth at the end. Here, let's click play, and we can see that fade. And then the last thing I think we'll do is, I'm not sure if we can do this, but let's try. Let's go up to here. Let's click on this one. Control C to copy it. It's be interesting if we can do this. We'll move to here. Press Control V. So I think it might have pasted it up here. So we can drag this one, hopefully down. So we've just basically copied that amazing planet Earth and just put it here. That's all we did, right? I went up to the top, I went across here, I selected this, I press Control C to copy, or you can go to Edit, Copy, and then you move across the timeline to the position where the clip below is going to be, which is this planet Earth one, and then I press Control V to paste it, and then it pastes it here, which is not on the right position. Well, to be fair, it is actually, but it would be better that we drag that clip down. So I dragged it down to put it over here, and then we can move it here to say, okay, where exactly do we want this clip to be? And I'm just going to leave it as it was before. So we'll just leave it as Amazing Planet Earth. Okay, so the last thing we'll do is lock this layer. And we didn't really need this layer here, right? It doesn't matter, it can stay there, but we didn't really need it because we ended up putting the this text clip above this content here, which is fine. It's not a problem. And the last thing we do is a dissolve at the end of this clip because we want it to fade to black at the end. Then it will just fade out, right? And maybe that fade should be a little bit longer, so we can grab it by the side and stretch it out a little bit. Let's try and make it a little bit longer because I think it was a bit too quick. Something like that would be nice. So let's go to File, Save, and this sort of this grey line here, we're going to drag it up a little bit so we can see more about the audio, what's going on down here. And we're going to right click on this audio clip because there's like 1, 2. We can, in theory, we can just leave these alone. We don't need to do anything with them because they're actually silent. If they're silent and they're not providing us with any sort of anything to, it's not improving this content in any way, then we might just get rid of them. So we can right click and link clip, click on that, and that will unlink it from the content that was above, and we can just click it and then delete it. Let's just go back to edit. Let's just undo that. So I'm going to undo that, Control Z. The reason I'm going to undo that is I want to lock these layers, right? Because if you don't lock them down, just make sure they're all locked. When you start deleting stuff, it starts shifting the content. Let's lock this top one as well. And let's just make sure everything's set properly. Yep, that's fine. So always try and, after you've done your work, try and lock off these layers. Because when you start deleting stuff from the bottom down here in the audio clip, things start to shift at the top and it messes up your timeline above. So this one we just unlocked, right? Then we click here, right click, link clip, delete that one, right click, link clip, delete this one. Now there's no audio in here at all because we want to go to our quiet thoughts and drag that into the audio here. So now we've got that audio clip. If we click on it, there's this white line, there's like this line at the top here, right? Let's just go to the beginning. So we'll click this, in fact we'll File, Save, and we'll click this arrow to go to the beginning of the timeline and click play. Okay, so that's looking pretty good, right? It's not bad at all. So what we want to do is end this audio clip at the right position. So we'll move our mouse cursor to here. We can see that's where the video is going to end, and then we can use our cut tool. Let's see what these other trim edit mode. I don't know what that does. Let's try that. No. Let's use the razor blade. We'll move to this position here and we'll cut it, and then we'll click on the arrow, select this right side of the audio, and then hit the delete key. We'll get rid of that. We don't want it. And wouldn't it be nice, in fact, do you know what, I'm going to do Control Z and Control Z one more time, and I'm going to undo that so we'll join the audio back again, because right at the beginning there's this silent part. It's not much of it, but there's a silent gap at the beginning. I don't like that. Let's go back to the beginning. I want to get rid of this silent bit here. So we'll click on this particular track that we're editing, the audio. We'll click on the razor blade. Normally it's good to move the timeline to where you want to cut, like here, and then we can just click on that timeline and it will cut that bit of audio. Then we can click on the mouse icon here, click on this first part of the audio we want to get rid of, delete it, and then that will shift across automatically and fill that space. If we click play now, the audio starts straight away. This is why I undid that edit, because I want to, if I would have kept that edit here and then dragged it back again at the beginning, we would have had a gap here at the end. So now we can go to our cut tool, click here, and then we'll click on the mouse icon, click on this back part of the audio clip, delete it, and then we'll go to file, save. And then the last thing we want to do is go to audio effects. We could try an audio effect. I think first of all we go to audio transitions, yeah? Audio transitions, crossfade, 3 seconds, right? So let's click it, or 3 dB I should say. Let's click it, let's drag it here, and then we'll drag it out a bit. We'll drag it out to around here, where this title ends. We want it to fade out the audio, so let's see if that works. Let's play it from about here. So that didn't really work. So I thought that would have faded out. Fade 0. Okay, 1 minute. Let's right click here, delete. Let's see, crossfade 0 dB. Maybe it's this one. Let's try that again. Let's go to the inspector. Yeah, I think that's fading down now, the audio. I need to do a bit of research into that, how to fade out the audio correctly. I thought that would have faded out because it says crossfade. I assume because these audio effects are more to do with changing how the audio sounds. So I don't think you can apply these video ones. Let me delete this. So I'll right click, delete it. This won't apply here. It's definitely audio, crossfade. There's only 3 options here on audio, so I guess fade to 0 dB, minus dB, and plus. So I guess, in fact, what we could do, I think we'll just leave it to fade to, we'll leave it like this. I'll do some more research into that. I'm going to find out more about fading out audio. We'll leave it like this. I don't think it's quite right, to be honest, but it doesn't sound too bad anyway. I'll do some more research into that rather than trying to figure it out right now. And we'll work out how to fade out audio at the end. And I'm going to do some more tutorials on this software. I'm kind of learning quite a lot about it myself right now. And we'll find out how to fade out the audio correctly. And I'll make some more tutorials later on how to do that. But so far we've done pretty well. We've got all our audio in there. You've got these like audio effects as well that you can add to the content. So if you want to change the effects of the audio, you can do that by simply clicking on the audio clip, dragging in an effect, and you can start changing the effect of it. You can also change the equalizer. So you've got these equalizers here. You're able to play it. because this tune doesn't really have any bass to it, so it's quite hard to see how these audio, these effects here are changing the frequency of the audio itself. So if you had something with more bass and music to it, then you would see that if you were to drag this up, you would hear more bass, and so forth. So you can play around with these. I think I'll leave a separate tutorial to look at these audio effects later. Let's have a look at one more element. So I'm going to scrub to the beginning of the timeline and go to color. And when we go to color, you'll see the different sections that we've created here. Let's go to file, save. And this is like the planet Earth part, right? So we can scrub in the timeline and we see the planet Earth. And if you wanted to change the color of this clip, you can use like the tools here. So we can change the actual, we can put purple into it. We can change it so we can have like some more green in there. It does affect the whole of the actual clip itself. So if you go too far, you can see the stars in the background are going sort of this green sort of color. So it can look a bit iffy. If you change something in here and you don't like it, then just double click inside and it will reset everything, yeah? So you move it and you know that's clearly wrong. Just double click and it will set it back again. You can change like different options in here. You can change the gain. There's loads of different stuff here. This is called color grading, and actually manipulating the colors on each one of these clips. I won't mess around with this too much. Maybe we'll do a separate tutorial later explaining color grading a bit more clearly. And here you can see the timeline, and here you can see each individual clip, and you can click on each one and you can manipulate the colors and the color palette basically directly in here. So you can change it if you want to. For now I'm going to leave them all as default. So play around with that options. We'll do a more in-depth tutorial on this. I'm going to learn a bit more about color grading, but I think it works better when you're actually doing the filming yourself, because these clips here are quite different, right? It's day and night, and it's autumn, winter, they're all different scenes. And the idea with this video that I was creating was to show planet Earth, and then some different sequences of, you know, we've got a sunrise here and we've got a sunset here, and we've got all the different autumn, winter, and all the different seasons in between, and some sort of like galaxy thing here. So that was it basically. What's right at the end here? This is our last video point, right? So let's save this. You can play around with this here if you want, and I will do a separate tutorial. I'm going to learn much more about this and come back and do another tutorial later. Fairlight, this is all about audio, so managing the audio and editing the audio. Again, I'm not going to go through much of this right now. I need to look a bit more into it, but you've got all the different channels of the audio. You can play around with this, and it's like a real mixing table. It's like one of the big studios, right? You've got the mixing table there, and you can play around the audio. I'm pretty sure there's like quite advanced settings in here for 5.1 surround sound, and you can do amazing stuff. And pan the audio here, you can see like panning audio, so you can have it panning across the speakers and do all amazing stuff. But for now, we'll leave that for another tutorial. We'll go to delivery or deliver now. Here you can see different options, right? You've got YouTube, you've got Vimeo, you've got H.264, which is like a HD video. All these different types of clips and these different types of exports that you can do. So you can export it for Final Cut, you can export it for all these different types of software applications, plus YouTube, 1080p, Vimeo, and let's just do a default H.264 export. And then in here, we're going to give it a file name, so we'll just call this amazing dash planet Earth -01. We'll make it our first. We'll go to location. We'll go to here in this folder, in this .mov file. Let's just save it for a second. And video, we really want it to be an MP4. So set it to MP4. The resolution is correct. The frame rate is correct. It's HD resolution. The quality, we'll leave it at automatic. Let's just let it do its own thing. Keyframes every, let's set it, just let the software do what it thinks is best. We can explain more about these keyframes and setting the keyframe. You can set it every 12 seconds. That can improve the video quality, but also increase the file size. So we'll leave it as default settings. The audio, we can leave it at this bit rate. That seems fine. This all seems okay. The codec is fine as well. We'll go back to video and let's just make sure it accepted that is going to be an MP4 file here. We'll click save, and then we need to click add to render queue. Click this, and then it adds it as a job, and you can create many jobs and add this to a queue, and you can click on start render. So it looks like it's rendering pretty fast. I thought this might take some time, but seeing as it's doing it so fast, we might as well just let it finish. You can see the progress bar here. It's pretty quick actually, but it wasn't an amazingly long video clip, just over a minute. And we'll actually watch it afterwards. Let's have a look, because I'm intrigued to see what it looks like in the end. And I'll probably upload this video clip to my YouTube channel as well, and put a link to this video that we're just rendering out right now into the YouTube description, so you can get an idea of what we've done as well. It'll be quite interesting for you to see that, I guess. Okay, that's it, job done. Let's go file, save project. Let's close down. Well, let's just double check we can see that file first. So amazing planet Earth 01, it's 250 meg. It's a pretty big file, but it's going to look pretty good in terms of quality as well. It's only like a minute long, right? But that seems about right for HD. So let's open it and check it out. So that's it, job done. Looked pretty cool actually, not a bad effort at all. So I hope this was supposed to be a quick beginner's guide, and it ended up being almost an hour long, but I think we've learned quite a lot as well. I've actually learned a few things just doing this tutorial. I've already downloaded it a few days ago, and I've just been experimenting and playing around with it. I use other video editing software at the moment, and I was quite intrigued to see how this software can work, and I think it's done a pretty good job, to be honest, for my first real attempt of cutting video. I've not really used this software to cut video before, so I've learned something. Hopefully you've learned something as well, and hopefully you've enjoyed this tutorial and you've gained some knowledge and skills. Go and experiment with it. I'm going to make more video tutorials on this software. I really like this software actually, so I'll be doing some more video tutorials, especially on the special effects and stuff like that. And I hope you find this tutorial useful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next DCP web tutorial.